Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. I wouldn't even call this a podcast. I would just kind of just call this a Friday morning conversation. I'm just here to talk a little bit about the Saints' embarrassing loss to the Denver Broncos, 33-10. Who that nation? These are dark times that we in when it comes to Saints football. Watching that game last night was just absolutely embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. This is bad. It's bad, man. Like I don't know what the New Orleans Saints are thinking. I really don't understand. Like it's right now 11:21 a.m. Eastern time here on a Friday. I still don't understand why I ain't got a notification on my phone that Dennis Allen is fired. I don't understand. I don't know why they trying to salvage this. I don't know what they trying to do. I don't know what they trying to prove. These guys are not receptive to what he is trying to do. I seen an interview with Alvin Kamara inside of the locker room on last night. The question was asked, like, do you feel like the the message from Dennis Allen, is registering? He also asked, like, do you think that, DA is the right guy for the job? He didn't answer that question. And I thought that was very telling. I didn't hear Alvin Kamara say we support DA. DA is a good coach. Look, we play for him. I ain't see none of that. What I seen was a guy that understood what everybody else knows, that they have a team that is not very good. They have a team that is an embarrassment. They brought back the bags. I mean, they brought back the freaking bags on Thursday. Unbelievable. Like something that I don't think that a lot of you Saints fans even really realize. And it's probably because you weren't old enough to really see this team when it was looking that bad. Dennis Allen is a loser, and the Saints will continue to be losers as long as they have him as their head coach. It's pretty sad, man. It's pretty sad. And I do want to say this, man. I was looking at the comments, and my mom also shared with me, some comments. And last night, if you're watching this live on a Friday, I was very upset because I want people to understand this. When I come to you, when I'm the host of the State of the Saints podcast, yes, I try to be objective, but I'm also giving you this show because I'm passionate about this football team. I love this football team. I grew up watching this football team. And I was really upset last night. I was really upset. And I used some language that I normally don't use when doing this podcast because everybody knows that I pride myself out of being, a family friendly show. And for that, I do want to apologize to the people that I may have offended with some of the language choices that I made. But everything that I do comes from a passionate place. Unlike Dennis Allen, if you actually look at my track record would say that I'm successful at making family friendly content more so than not. So I want to apologize to all those people out there that I may have offended with my language, but I'm a Saints fan also, man. I'm a broadcast journalist. I'm a part of the National Association of Black Journalists. I'm a radio broadcaster by trade. I cover Coastal Carolina, but at the end of the day, I'm a Saints fan. I'm a Saints fan at the end of the day. And I don't want to see this team looking like this. I'm like everybody else when it comes to this football team. I do not want to see this team looking like slow. And last night was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Um, I can understand why Saints fans probably will want to tune out after what we seen on television on Thursday night. I can understand why people wouldn't want to go to the football games. And I don't think it's going to change as long as Mickey Loomis and the Saints front office keep on acting as if they ish don't stink. Yes, I just said that. They have to make sure that they go out there and perform and put a better product on the field than what we have seen over the last couple of games. And Mickey Loomis to me is killing his franchise. He is killing his franchise because he knows he's untouchable. He knows nothing really is going to happen to him, and he thinks he has all the answers. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. But I think one thing that we all seen on last night, I think that it was apropos that it actually happened. The fact is, on the same night where the Saints had one of the most embarrassing losses since, I don't know, maybe the Mike Dick era, we seen a guy in Drew Brees who basically changed this organization around. And we see what this organization is without him. And it also exposes the fact that you had Mickey Loomis in the house, and you also had Sean Payton. And make no mistake about it, I know Denver won, but Denver is not a good football team. They're not very good. Like, they are not very good. If the Saints had any competence going into this football game, they probably would have won. Bo Nix don't look the part. That offense is about as stale as bread left on the counter for 24 hours. And they're not a very good team. So you have a general manager in Mickey Loomis who really basically just went to the corner store and bought a lottery ticket. And you also have Sean Payton, who basically looks like he was just a recipient of some really good quarterback play. Be that as it may, he pushed Drew Brees in that position by coming up with them offensive plays. But Drew Brees was the trigger man. So you have two guys that came into the Superdome and basically got a reputation for actually having any level of competence because of a 6 foot tall, 209-pound quarterback that got. I think that it was almost like theater that happened. It was almost like theater that it happened. But I don't know where the Saints can go from here. I really don't. I don't know what you can salvage. There was nothing that I seen in that game on Thursday night that I feel like you can hang your hat on. Nothing. Offensive line play was awful. Defensive line can't stop a nosebleed. Secondary in shambles. Linebackers look old and slow. Special teams looked exactly that. It was just bad, man. All in all, like, I'm looking for a player that I can just say like really came through and tried to do their best last night. The only person I can think of is maybe Kendre Miller. That was it. That's like the only bright spot that I seen. Kendre Miller looks like he can be something special. I mean, you got to say that he can be something special. He was able to get positive yards behind that sorry offensive line. But Mickey Loomis is killing his franchise. He is killing his franchise, folks. Man came on the radio station talking about looking beyond the results. Came at the end of the year press conference with a note in his back pocket with Hall of Fame coaches and their records and their starting spots, gaslighting the Who Dat Nation, making it seem like it's us and not him. It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. But I do want to mention BetUS, because this show is powered by BetUS. Sign up today, get up to 125% on your first 3 deposits, up to 2,000 of them things. All right, 2,000 of them things. I wonder if I turn the phone sideways, what will happen? Let me see. All right. Well, let me turn it back the other way because I got something this can stand on. But I'm actually doing this on my phone right now, and I'm actually in my kitchen, man. So, yeah. So I was like, man, look. I wanted to make this about as intimate as possible, man. I didn't want to get behind the microphone and all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to kind of just chop it up, man, because it just seemed like this is, one of them days, man. This is one of them days, like Monica say, just one of them days. Don't take it personal. Well, I am taking it personal, though. The way this team look, you have no choice but to make it personal. Jermaine, don't call me Jermaine Jackson, but his last name is Scobie, says, I feel you, TJ. I'm the same way. When I get upset, I get out of character. Yeah, man, it was pretty bad, though, man. And, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that, that type of podcaster I don't want to bring that type of energy. You know, I'm sorry, Grandma, but I gotta say this. My grandmother, a few shows back, got a little bit upset with me about some of the language choices and stuff like that. She's like, "You weren't raised like that." No, I wasn't raised like that, Grandma. I was not. But man, sometimes like you really can't help that stuff. You really can't. You can't help the passion, and sometimes that passion can come out in like different ways. But like I said, I pride myself on having a family-friendly show. I really do, man. Like I take a lot of pride in knowing that for the most part, anybody at any age can watch this show. I take a lot of pride in that. And but last night, Thursday night, was just a bad night, and I think it was a bad night for everybody. But I try to do better in the future. Dennis Allen talking about Richard Sherman don't know what he's talking about. Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does. Them boy, that was your entire defense over there. That was your entire defense. Like the offense, you can say, okay, the offense is struggling because they limited, right? But that's the entire defense, for the exception of Pete Warner that was over there. So call it for what it is. The boys are not very good. Don't play Kendrick till it's garbage time. DA an idiot and ruining the team. The fact that he's not fired by now, that's the most glaring thing about it. Like they complicit in the bull. Basically, you saying, okay, they look terrible, but it's not your fault, Dennis. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, do the New Orleans Saints think that they are do they think they one of the most well-structured organizations in football or something? They are not. They are not. You're not the Ravens. You're not the Steelers. You're not the Vikings or any of these other teams that are in playoff contention consistently. You're not that. And it seemed like to me like their little dusty ring that they have in 2009, that one championship ring that's collecting dust, that Lombardi trophy that's collecting dust, they feel like that makes them entitled, and they feel like all their decisions that they make are just the right ones. They have made some very, very, very bad decisions over the last few years. But the thing about it is, once again, it's one of those situations where the cover-up, Drew Brees covered up a lot of these imperfections of this team that people feeling as if they knew what the heck they was doing, and they didn't. You can go out there and bring in Andy Tanner. You can go out there and bring in Joe Morgan. You can go out there and bring in Tavares Cadet when you had Drew Brees, because he is going to elevate their game. He is going to make them better than what they actually were. It's almost like Milli Vanilli, right? Milli Vanilli, for those that don't know, there was two guys that came from Germany. They were two artists, but they ended up lip singing, right? They were making songs, but they had somebody else singing these songs, and they tried to make it seem like it was actually them. And they became it's insanely popular, like during the late 80s, early 90s. And they were carrying themselves like they were the ones really singing the songs. Like, girl, it's true. Ooh, 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 I love you. Like, that wasn't you, bro. That was not you. Like, you was doing all the dance moves and stuff, but it wasn't you. That is what I feel like what the New Orleans Saints are doing. Like, it was Drew Brees, bro. Drew Brees was the voice. Drew Brees was the hits. Drew Brees was the multi-platinum artist here. You were just basically singing in the background and lip singing to the beat of the song. That is what, to the lyrics of the song, I should say. That is what this organization was and is. So people are trying to build and feel like their reputation is solidified, but it wasn't you. And now we are seeing that a lot of what was going on within this organization wasn't on the up and up. It was Drew Brees. It was Drew Brees doing this. TJ Mickey says DA will succeed in his fourth year. I know he didn't say that, bro. I know he didn't. I know he ain't say that. I know he said. The New Orleans Saints is the laughing stock in the NFL right now. Everyone, ESPN, First Take, First Thing First, TJ, all of them platforms know Dennis Allen is not a good coach. Everybody knows he's not a good coach. And everybody in the NFC South that cheer for other teams want him to stick around. And I don't blame them because they know that that's going to be a dub on the schedule. The New Orleans Saints has got to clean house from the GM down to the head coach. I know Mickey is the VP, but man, they need an overhaul. That's an understatement. But he ain't going to go nowhere, man. Like Mickey Loomis is arrogant. He's full of himself, and he really thinks that his ish don't stink. Like, well, maybe he may not feel like that's the case, but he carries himself like that. Like, I can understand that you carry yourself with a sense of confidence. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in what the process is, right? But if it's not working, you can't gaslight everybody when you know it's not working to make them believe that it's working, because it's not. It's not working. So you got to figure out ways to make it work. How are you going to do that? I have absolutely no earthly idea, but I know it can start with the firing of Dennis Allen. I know that ain't it. I know you ain't about to win nothing with him. It's just not going to happen. Every time this guy goes up against competent coaching, a competent football team, he loses. He can't win. I don't know what more you need to tell you. Like, if he was actually beating some of these teams, like if he was like winning against some of these winning football teams, then I can understand that. But his track record shows that he's not very good. He's not very good at it. Loomis is out of touch with football team. Joe Woods will be fired. First scapegoat. I don't see why. Why would he be fired? Dennis Allen is the defensive coordinator. I mean, you can say that Joe Woods is the defensive coordinator, but we know who organizing that defense. It's Dennis Allen. I just feel sorry for people who go into these games. Yeah, I do too. But I heard people was leaving in the second quarter. I heard people was leaving in the second quarter of this football game. And well, after halftime, I should say, they was leaving. They stayed there for the Drew Brees ceremony, and then it was like, man, I got to go to work tomorrow. Girl, you know it's true. Yep. Lip singing. Oh my God, he done said Milli Vanilli. Yeah, I mean, that's the perfect example. Milli Vanilli, two guys from a different country, Germany, who couldn't even really speak the language, but they had a good look. There was really good performers, and you had the record companies that kind of seen that, and it was like, man, we can make some money off these two good-looking guys. I mean, they can't really speak the language, so let's bring some guys in that can actually sing songs, and we can kind of make this thing act. But in the process, people got tired of them, and they pretty much exposed them because the way they were carrying themselves, they was acting as if they were the ones singing the songs, and they weren't. They were just lip singing, but they started to believe their own hype. Thus, the reason why they can't their popularity, and they got exposed. And that's what happened with Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis is Milli Vanilli. He felt like he was the one making the hits, but in reality, he was the one that was just lip singing. Drew Brees was the hit maker, not you. And everybody knows it, man. Girl, you know it's true. Dude, you know it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The Saints are through. Let's see. Defense can't practice tackling during the week. They either want to or they don't. Yeah, this guys make business decisions. It's Cancun on 3, folks. It's Cancun on 3. I don't see another win for the Saints this year. It ain't looking like it. I said it last night, and I stand by that. They look like the worst team in football. I ain't seen too many Browns games, but it can't be no worse than what I seen last night. That was atrocious. That was ooh, Lord, that was horrible. That was awful. That was awful, man. New Orleans is now a doormat to the NFL. They will not get any free agents to come to New Orleans. Yeah, they won't until they actually build something. Drew Brees was MJ. And once he left the Jackson 5, the Saints, it was over. I mean, even Jermaine Jackson, he had let's get serious though. I mean, he had one hit. Is it possible to move Brian Kelly up to the Saints? Man, no, sir. Like, shoot, you talk about choking at big games. Shoot, Brian Kelly, the king of that. Let's see, Dana, good afternoon, hon. Hope you're having a good day. Giving a shout out to Dana. I know Nikki, I guess you mean, well, I know Nikki did not say that. Nikki Loomis knows DA is a horrible coach. I don't know if he knows that or not. Kane Coon on 3. Facts. Let's see. Let's just wait to draft a quarterback till Arch Manning. I agree. It's unfortunate that you couldn't think in 2025 where you can get Arch Manning, but hey, I don't see an end in sight here until they just make up in their mind that changes indeed need to be made. Mickey Loomis is our Jerry Jones. When I said I hope DA fired, they called me a fake fan. They called me negative. They called me fair weather. They called me a hater. But what they can't call me was wrong. No Cap, yeah. You've been saying that, man. No Cap gonna get his credit, but No Cap gonna get his credit. No Cap gonna be like, I said this, I said that. Look, I mean, he remind me of Lil Richard. You know, Lil Richard, man, they ain't give me credit for nothing. I told him I was the best. I told him I was the innovator, the duplicator. Oh man, that man said y'all gonna give me my credit, man. I'm gonna keep on saying it till y'all tell y'all y'all gonna give me my credit. Talk that talk, man. Talk that talk, Cap. Let's see, Clint, you know your offense is limited, so where is the creativity? Why not leaning on the run game? And why we keep running the ball, the same bootleg? You got Spence trying to sling it like Brett Favre. I don't know, man. Like, that's why I say, I don't know about Clint Kubiak either. It don't seem like I think the best coordinators are the ones that can kind of improvise when things aren't going their way. I don't know about this dude, man. I don't know about him. I know that I know his hands are tied behind his back right now. I can completely 100% understand that. But with the guys that you have in the game, you're not even executing and doing that well. Like, it's terrible. Like, I don't know. I don't, like, honestly, I haven't seen him make any adjustments. I don't see, like, and since Taysom Hill has left the lineup, I don't see too many people making plays. I don't see anybody's strong points at all. It's just like, okay, man, we're going to go out here and we're going to run like a preseason offense. That's what I saw. It's like, you are you using a checklist? Like, it was like, one thing about Sean Payton, like, he was on the sidelines, he has that big old play sheet. And, when things aren't working or things working, you can see him like checking it off. Okay, we're going to go back to that later on. I don't see any of that with him. Kendre Miller, first carry. Like, let me go back. They running a football, 1 yard, 1 yard, 2 yards, 1 yard. Kendre Miller gets the ball, 1 carry, 8 yards. Bye-bye. Don't see him for the rest of the game for the most part. Gets the majority of his carries late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter. Somebody help me make that make sense. It doesn't. So everybody like, Clint Kubiak this, Clint Kubiak that. Like, I ain't seen, like, I don't like, since the first 2 games of the season, I have not seen anything that just tells me that Clint Kubiak can be the next head coach or even the offensive coordinator going forward. Now, maybe if you give him better talent to work with, maybe he can be able to scheme up some things. But when you cannot excel when things aren't going perfectly, that's alarming to me. It's alarming. I don't know about to you, but to me, that's alarming. I've been saying Loomis is the problem for years, and no one wanted to listen. We are in hell. No way out until Gale passes and the team gets sold. Well, I ain't trying to see Gail Benson pass away. Football don't get that serious, man. It don't get that serious. I like the New Orleans Saints, but I ain't praying on. I ain't trying to look towards nobody's untimely death or death in general. The Saints shouldn't. You shouldn't even have to worry about that. You should be able to understand the issues that are plaguing your football team and make those corrections, not trying to make this thing work. And it just seems like to me like okay, they okay with stinking. I mean, I ain't hear a report yet, and more than likely you won't see a report. They're gonna do the same thing they did after that Carolina Panthers loss week 17 a couple of years ago when Sam Darnold only threw for like 45 yards in that game and the Saints still lost and everybody wanted DA's head on a silver platter. They hit him out, they ducked him off. Ain't nothing was really coming out of airline. And then a couple of weeks later, we just see Dennis Allen talking at a coach's luncheon. And that's the same way they did again. Like they're gonna have this 10-day buy, this 10-day mini buy that they got. Everybody's gonna kind of sneak off, hope everybody kind of quiet down, and then they're gonna stick their head out of the ground. Everybody, is the coast clear? Can we come out now? That's what it's gonna be. But ain't nobody supporting this, man. Ain't nobody supporting this. I guarantee you, games going forward, as long as Dennis Allen is the coach, all of these Saints games inside of the Caesar Superdome gonna sound like Falcon home games. They're gonna sound like Washington Commander home games. They're gonna sound like I don't know whoever they playing at home. It's gonna be like an extra home game for the fan base. That is what it's gonna be. And the Saints just need to understand that this is absolutely terrible, man. It's terrible that we have to come to this. And these people in this organization just refuse to do anything about it. Blaming it on injuries. Now we heard that last night at the press conference. Here come Dennis Allen. Now, the day before the game, they was asking about injuries. Well, injuries occur. Well, yeah. It does hurt the team, but we got to continue to battle. Now, when things ain't working in your favor, now all of a sudden the injuries, and now they're going to try to use that as an excuse. Well, Dennis Allen couldn't get the job done because his team was injured. They were decimated with injuries. I guarantee you, nobody's going to support this football team. If they bring back Dennis Allen next year and they try to hang their hat on the whole injury excuse, ain't nobody gonna be there. Ain't nobody coming to these football games, man. Ain't nobody coming to these football games. They not gonna get season tickets. All of the games early in the season gonna sound like away games. Like everybody know that this dude ain't gonna win. You ain't winning nothing with that. My Lions passed the curse on to you guys. Yeah, it looks like it. They look like they curse. Crickets. It's gonna sound like crickets. Where do Pete actress can hear the players play calls like in COVID? Yeah, it's gonna be an echo inside of the Superdome. It's the perfect storm. A cold front of lack of talent combining with the warm front of Pittsburgh coaching. Hurricane is finally hitting lane. Yep, that's a good analogy right there. That's a good analogy that you use right there. Let's see, Dan Campbell. Let's see, Dan Campbell should have been our coach. TJ, ticket holders are going to start still support. Uh, I don't understand why, bruh. I don't. Like, this, this is like major Stockholm syndrome to me. Like, you literally have Saint Stockholm syndrome if you're gonna go up in there and stomach that nonsense that they put on the field. I'll decline season tickets this year. Man, them boys were trying to sell them season tickets like it wasn't. I ain't never got them many phone calls from the New Orleans Saints as like one of them automated messages. I ain't never had those many messages. They're gonna be like David Ruffin. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Dennis. Tank for Travis at this point. Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson needs to be the number one target for this all season. I'm going with Ben Johnson. Aaron Glenn, he can't coach defense, and I have a feeling that if he does come to the Saints, he'll want to be in control of the defense, and I'm not a fan of that. If they fire DA, the defense will play better, I promise. I don't care who the coach is. The players will just be happy he's gone. That's the way I look at it. Like, Richard Sherman even said it. Like, Richard Sherman, like, the Saints are playing like they trying to get their coach fired. Man, these dudes know, man. These dudes know if a player is giving they all. These guys know, like, who, you know what I'm saying, who, like, really leaving it all on the field and who phoning it in. I told everybody, like I said this on the NFC South Roundtable. For those that check out the NFC South Roundtable on Tuesday nights on YouTube, I said that this game ain't even going to be close. I said it's going to be a blowout. I said it. If you seen that game on Sunday and just chunked it up to a bad day in the office, I got to tell you, you got to reevaluate your football mind, because there was nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, that told me that, oh, Tampa was just that dominant over the Saints. Tampa made some plays, but the Saints quit. They quit on dude. They quit on him. Plain and simple. They quit. Ain't no way around it. They quit. I can understand the injuries, but they're not competitive, and I think they've given up on DA. I think so too. Mickey said y'all are ungrateful. He gave y'all a Super Bowl and ain't did nothing else after that. And he's running his organization into the ground right now, if you ask me. TJ, pull up the same draft pick history. And before Sean Payton, our draft was trash. Then we get Sean and we start hitting on picks. Now Sean is gone and our draft picks are trash again. Loomis sucks. Exactly. He lost the locker room, man. They're on a hiatus. Man, them dudes don't want to play for him. They don't. The question was asked about, do the team feels like Dennis Allen is the right guy for the job? That's a pretty clean cut, straightforward question right there. And Alvin Kamara said he did not. All right, hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Can y'all still hear me? Can y'all still hear me? Let me make sure somebody can hear me before I start talking again. Can y'all hear me? Okay, all right, cool. So had to drop somebody up, came by the house, had to pick something up for me. I apologize for that. But yeah. Yeah, man, it's pretty bad, man. I mean, I could talk about some of the things that happened in the game, but look, go back and check out the post game show. I mean, I done calmed down a little bit, you know, since then. So go back and check it out, man. All the stats and all the stuff like that. Bleacher Report, you know, I talked on there about the game. You know, I mean, I did all that, man. So I'm pretty much answering questions right now. I'm gonna take a few more and then I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man. Says smash that like button. Who that nation? Yes. Thank you for that. Shaheed might return with a nub dealing with auctioner. Yeah, I mean, but he went out to California, so they ain't got nothing to do with auctioner. We laugh at the Cowboys, but we in the same boat. A GM that won't leave unless he croaks and keeps faith, and then he's bummed coaches and players. Oh man, I think, like, to be honest with you, I think these players aren't that bad. I just think that Dennis Allen is just not good at being a head coach. Scared the medical staff might ruin Shaheed. Like, I don't think the medical staff, like, his surgery had nothing to do with the medical staff. He went out to California to do that, so that's a plus. Did Michael Thomas speak on the medical staff last season or two ago? He did. We've been watching the same itty movie for 3 years. I was there. Drew tried to stir up the crowd and got a half-hearted response. I am a lifetime fan and will continue to support the players who want to play. Well, ain't nothing wrong with supporting the players. If you want to go into the Superdome and watch that, God bless you. God bless you. But I can do what I'm doing from the house. And you know what I'm saying? I can sit there and watch this on TV. I'm not about to give these people my money, man. I'm not. Because that's the thing right there. Like, they know for a fact that people are going to still continue to support this, continue to put money into this. If you want change, you got to hit billionaires where it hurt. You got to hit millionaires, people that, like, that rely on you spending your money. You got to hit them where it hurt. You got to sit at home. You got to stop investing in this in order for them to change. And I honestly feel like, for real, maybe they'll let this dude coach out the end of the season, but I don't think they're gonna bring him back. I don't think they're gonna bring him back because Mickey said the same thing last season when he was talking about the offensive struggles, and he was like, "I feel like we got the right people in the building," and they fired the entire offensive coaching staff last season. So maybe he'll probably let him coach out the season, but I don't see any possibility that this dude coming back. TJ, the halftime show full game reaction was heated. I'm glad we all calmed down. I had to go to pray. Yeah, I was upset, man. I was hot. I was hot. I was hot. TJ, do you think we look for a quarterback in the draft? I feel like Spencer played well yesterday despite the O-line play. Now, I'm going to say this. I like Spencer Rattler. I do. I think that there's something there. I think that there's promise. But I will say this. Where the Saints look like they're going to be picking at, I don't expect for them to be picking there very often. It's not going to be like, 2025, like, okay, they're going to end up still being worse. I don't see that. It's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like with the Seahawks. The Seahawks, with Pete Carroll, they barely ever picked in the top 10. It was always like the upper teens, the 20s. And then, like, I want to say maybe the year before he left, they ended up like picking in a bad spot, right? They ended up picking in a bad spot. I don't know if it was because of their record. I think they may have made a trade with the team, but they ended up getting like a 5th pick in the draft. And they got Devin Witherspoon. And he is the best cornerback on their football team, and honestly flirting with top 10 when it comes to the cornerback play. If you're not picking at that position very often, I think that you need to take advantage of it. There's a few things that the New Orleans Saints can do. If you are in love with Spencer Rattler and like what you see and feel like, all we got to do is build the offensive line around him and we'll be okay, then draft, the best offensive lineman in the draft. You get the offensive tackle from LSU. You get him. Like, if you pick in there. Or if you just like okay with Spencer Rattler, like you love him, but you're not in love with him, you draft a quarterback. Because the chances of you picking at this particular position in this particular spot is not going to happen again. So to me, you pick a franchise quarterback if you're not in love with Spencer Rattler. I think that Spencer Rattler, like, I think that he's good, but I think that he will make plays that frustrate you. Like, there were a couple plays that I seen from out of him, some throws. I'm like, I don't know, bro. A couple of decisions, like not really sensing the pressure, like on your backside, double clutching the ball, like stuff like that, man. Like you can't do that on a professional level. Like I do feel like Spencer Rattler can be a starter in the league, but I mean, I have to see a little bit more. I think that I think that in better circumstances, he'll win you some football games. But I can't see Spencer Rattler like leading you anywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not for at least another like 3 or 4 years. But I guess if you like get a better like quarterback coach and a better support system around him, maybe. But it's not to a point where if the Saints were to draft a quarterback in the first round, I'd be upset that they did that. I mean, I'm not even looking at the offensive line. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at some of the throws that he made. A lot of them was high. He didn't really plant his feet. There was some missed throws. Those screen passes that he threw looked like just was sailing in the air for a long period of time. Like, it's gonna take some work, man. I always said that I feel like he can be the future of this franchise, and I said don't sleep on him. But I never thought that he was going to be a first day starter. I always thought he would be a work in progress. Now, I think some of these reps may help him, on his journey to becoming a better quarterback. So him actually being thrust into this lineup, dealing with these adverse situations, and also your first two starts coming against two of the best defensive-minded coaches in football, it kind of helps him. So I think with more reps, he'll get better offensive line play. He'll improve. Maybe, having Eric McCoy back under center will probably be able to help him when it comes to blitz and pickups. When you're young and you really don't know how to, audible out of certain situations and you ain't really sensing the pressure or the blitzes and where they're coming from, I mean, it's just an uphill battle. Spencer will set us back another 2 to 3 years. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't, because I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge him on these few games, man. Because his offensive line is trash. Who is he throwing the football to? Now, like I said, some of the decision making looks like a rookie, and that's understandable. It's understandable, folks. When you got to be able to help a rookie out. You got to have a good defense. You got to have a good running game. You got to make sure that he feels as comfortable as possible. You got to make sure he feels as comfortable as possible. You got to put a supporting cast around him before he's ready to take over the reins. Like, he threw the ball 35 times, right? He threw the ball a total of 75 times in the last 2 games. 75 times in the last 2 games. Like, you got to keep this guy maybe 16 to 20 throws, right? Running the football, playing good defense. But now you have this guy coming into the game feeling like he got to be the superhero, and you're not ready for the moment. So I can't blame him for that. I can't. If he was behind a relatively respectable offensive line and had a good running game, and he was kind of making some of these mistakes, I'll be like, okay, maybe we need to work on this. But he really had nothing. He had nothing really to support him. TJ, would you like to see Shadur as a Saint? Doesn't matter to me. If he can come in and win football games, I don't care. But I know you're going to have to fix the offensive line if you get Shadur Sanders. It's the second game. We can't run the ball. Doesn't have the top 2 receivers with a 3rd and 4th string interior offensive lineman. This is terrible for him. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm going to tell y'all this. For all those people out there that was talking about Jake Haener and him coming in on the last drive and we need to start him, Anybody that's ever watched or played football ever in your life, you know why that dude was able to be successful. You know why this dude was able to be successful. Like, the game was over. Everything was over but the shouting. He comes into the game like garbage time, the defensive scheme. Those guys they were just trying to make sure that the clock was ticking. That's it. They were just trying to make sure the clock was ticking. Nobody cared. Nobody cared at that point. I take Jalen Monroe before Shadur. I don't know, man. I think Shadur Sanders is talented, but you need offensive linemen around. You know, offensive line around him. Hold on one second. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the show here, man. I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Much love to you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Also, facebook.com, you can search Gumbo Pot Sports Podcast. Also, you can follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. I really do appreciate everyone's time. And till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?